Good evening. This is Smales TV Network host Frankie HOLTZMANN Smales. This week, Paul Feig's opus Ghostbusters hit a disastrous stumbling block where it was banned a release in China due to the grounds of supernatural beliefs and mysticism of a cult. This was not the first film to suffer the wrath of the ban in China due to those very similar grounds. The Chinese markets had a long history of banning films on those similar grounds. Even Back to the Future was banned in China due to the whole aspects of time traveling, which was a strictly forbidden taboo subject in Chinese mythology culture, and along with so many other films, then even The Golden Child and Big Trouble in Little China also suffered the same wrath under the similar grounds of the spiritualism, mysticism, and occultism that offended the American Chinese community, that also suffered the blow in the Chinese market, but however did a moderate success elsewhere. Despite with this $46 million intake of box office returns, it failed to exceed its 50 million box office target, then failed to overthrow The Secret Life of Pets, which was an animated cartoon series that took that top spot for the third consecutive run in the week. However, the Sony Yahoo announced that they will be pursuing a sequel to the film, where it ends with a post in the scene where party character hit the name Zoo that will be set up for an eventual sequel. And most recently, Paul Feig also announced there will be an extended cut of the Blu-ray when it comes out in time for Christmas. But however, it was not all rosy for this Ghostbusters reboot. To say the first trailer was the most disliked trailer in history, and due to the misguided notion of making out that it is set chronologically 30 years ago, which is 32 years ago to be precise, for scientists saved the world. But as I mentioned way back in my review response about the trailer, I said that was not entirely accurate. There was three scientists as well. You could technically call that two. To say that Peter Venkman was a consummate studies ball scientist, isn't that using abusing his field in order to womanize women, and there was two main scientists, which was Spengler and Stans, and Zedmore was an everyday man. Due to the outcry that they changed it to Four Friends Saved the World, and Melissa McCarthy did speak up about her frustration and anger about the trailer. She said it did not make sense. But as they try to do damage control, do so many different variations of the trailer, but however, it caused major outcry amongst the fans and by so many sectors of the marketing and so many higher ups accusing these people of being chauvinistic and misogynistic and all this, like, by refusing to go and see it. Even Katie Dippold said, "I feel your pain. Go see it and grow up," or something like that, which is for their own spanner into the works. So that led to so many people get turned off by the film, and that's why most theatres that, or should I say, cinema complexes, no matter which part of the world you live in, the Ghostbusters screening room was more or less mediocre and empty due to the fact people was all flooding in to go see The Secret Life of Pets and other films that was screening at the time. That led to believe there was something not right going on about the film and etc. And why is the cinemas quickly starting to pull down their marquee stands and advertising the film? Due to the fact they are predicting it's going to take in a moderate 46 million to, target, not target, budget in a box office returns. So the toys themselves were stalling and etc. However, in the recent hours, Al Smith, which was a respected YouTuber, did a thought out critique and well put video about to, the downfall of the film's reaching its target and that, and etc. Yeah, in a way, he had so many things conspired against the film, with all the backlash, with all the contrived nonsense about, for those of them who was undecided, that went with James Rolfe's advice and or a couple of others, that by not seeing it and suddenly tried to threaten them with a bait and switch. They said, if you don't go and see it, you're a misogynistic asshole, and all sorts of that, sorts of salty language and that, and all sorts of other stuff. Spiked its 76% fresh rating on Rotten Tomatoes, which critics were seeing on the good merits of the film, to say they was all invited to a closed screening in the theatre in New York. Grace Randolph was there in attendance, where she said some people didn't get the free popcorn and drinks, and that was others did, and that come up with this BS. There was nothing left to. There wasn't no time for everybody to get it. But my disagreement with that statement was, only people who get rewarded the free stuff if they said positive things about the film. If they was bound to say anything negative, they won't get the free stuff and that. Which I really tended to believe, which many people thought it was total hokum. This all of a sudden give appraisals and that, and most recently, the first flood of audience responses, and some of them thought it was great, and some of them thought it was didn't. And the IMDb itself was flooded with responses to the film. Some of them thought it was dumpster trash, and some of it thought it was middle of the road, and some of it thought it was average but not good, and etc. I put it as in the good category because I enjoyed it, even though some YouTubers pleaded me to say, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. I went by my own gut and went to see it. I enjoyed it and etc. But with this banning of the film in China, that slightly hurted its box office takings and that. But it's going to take ground for it to make it all back when it comes to the physical and digital media sales after when the films does its run and that and etc. But this is the whole example. We take two things too far by trying to go against the fan base by using salty fragrances and references hidden in films and that the whole aspect of making a film, you're supposed to go with the fans' wishes and that, and to do things in order to win the fan base over, like fulfill what they want. The fans really wanted a continuation of the original films, where it was a passing of the torch thing, and that due to the naivety and the control of Sony and in its other company, Village Roadshow, didn't want they changed the goalposts and scrapped the script from Max Landis, which was a perfectly good script and that. Yeah, it could still have Kate McKinnon in some kind of aspect. She was thought of by a few people instead of having her as HOLTZMANN. Why couldn't they wrote her in as the daughter of Egon Spengler and that and etc. But no mention of the rest and that. The film was okay. It was nowhere near a perfect film, and you're gonna have bumps and dents in every film. Then you can. It's like peaks and valleys. One day it goes up the peak, and the other day it goes down the valley, and etc. Yeah, it's a terminology I learned from Ed DeLine from watching Las Vegas, which is my favorite show. Yeah, and when you lose the respect of the fans by going against the wishes and that, the fan base, most fan base is gonna disown the the franchise and don't want it to do with it anymore and move on to other things and that. The great example, Force Awakens. Most people have praised J.J. Abrams on the fan service it got by including Han Solo and Princess Leia with Chewbacca and the two droids R2D2 and C3PO. Slightly won the fan base over. Did it in a clever narrative, but the way they did it with this reboot is shoehorned in the original cast, but not having them in their respective roles, having them in different roles, and that which did not sit well with fans and that and etc. This is a common mistake that these films make all the time. Look at an example. Fright Night from 2011. That was a complete, legitimate disaster from the get-go. They tried to deviate away from the source material of the 1985 cult classic by taking it away from Rancho Corvallis, by setting it in Las Vegas and that. is them making Charlie Brewster a likable dweeb in the whole school, walking around with all of his friends, but it's not like the Charlie Brewster played by William Ragsdale in the 95 and the 88 series of Fright Night, which was more of a loner guy that was so overly obsessed with watching horror films and going to the rear window voyeurism and that. Yeah, apart from he only had the two friends, which was his girlfriend Amy and this strange uh, kid called the Evil Ed Thompson. But in the 2011 version, they took away from the pastiche of that, and look what happened. It did not sit well with so many people. Uh, Even the shoehorned in Chris Sarandon, that did not work. You know, to say they shoehorned him for a couple of minutes, then they killed him. They likewise in this film they shoehorned in Bill Murray's character as Martin Heist, and all of a sudden he's dead. That's him finished. But you got to respect the fans. If you don't respect the fans, you're going to lose the fans, and etc. 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 This is the whole thing that these studios need to learn in order to trust what the fans wanted and that. And with the proposed sequel to the film, I hope to God they put it right and etc. It's like Christophe Lambert says there will be a eventual third Mortal Kombat film where he'll be returning as Lord Raiden, and he promised the fans to put right where Mortal Kombat Annihilation went wrong, and hope to God when he says mentioned the thing about going back in time, I hope to God they bring back Johnny Cage, which was beloved character in the series and that. And hope to God they will hope to win back Lyndon Ashby and Bridget Wilson in the respected roles and that. But but as a whole, yes, this Ghostbusters reboot did suffer a very extensive blow to its success for trying to dominate the box office due to the ban in China. If they didn't have this then if they didn't have the beliefs about the supernatural and etc., they would have accepted the film into China. It would have made a huge splash, and it would have been a success. Then Ghostbusters would have been #1 at the end of this weekend, but it was obviously not the case, and etc., which caused a huge blow in the box office takings and that. This is the whole demonstration about when it comes to these films and that. And this is what I'll have to say about this. This is Frankie HOLTZMANN Smales for Smales TV Network news update, and thank you for tuning in, and don't forget to comment and subscribe. Follow me on follow me on Twitter at Frankie Smales. If you're using the mobile app, use the hashtag go first. And thank you for tuning in, and have a good night. For those of you who's gone to bed in France, bon nuit and fare well.